Hello guys, welcome to this video. I'm doing a YouTube video after a long time, although I uploaded a couple of shorts. But I'm doing a serious YouTube video after a long time, mainly because I was like really busy with college exams and this and that stuff. And like I'm busy even now. Right now it's almost 4 a.m. in the morning. And this isn't new. Like for the last couple of weeks, I've been like doing late night. I mean, yeah, pulling all-nighters. So anyway, let's get straight to this video. And as some of you know, like I've been releasing a lot of YouTube community posts about the Joker and some shorts about the Joker, some quotes. And for those of you like who have my contact, like who have my WhatsApp number, you can see from my WhatsApp statuses and all, you can like easily, I mean, you can say that I've been really influenced by this character called Joker. And for those of you who don't know who or what this Joker is, let me just give you. So basically what I'll do in this video is I'll be judging the Joker, as you can see from the title, and I'll be discussing his philosophy of life, his philosophy of the world, and a bit of his psychology and the character as a whole. Like I don't read a lot of fiction or watch a lot of movies or TV series, whatever. And yeah, at one point of time, I used to read a lot of fictions. Like I used to be really obsessed with Harry Potter at one point of time, and I read a couple of other fiction as well. But I wasn't this much like when I was young, I was pretty much influenced by Harry Potter. But I think I could relate with this character, the Joker, so much that I thought it would be like I thought I should do a video about his philosophy and his psychology because like I think this is really important. This character is a deep one, and once you get behind the initial insanity and negativity, you can see that this character, there's a lot to learn from this character. So that's why I'm doing this video. That was usually I don't do like these kind of videos, like character analysis and all this kind of videos. Like this is probably the first time I'm doing such a video. But yeah, anyway, so this is the video, and yeah, of course, the Joker is a famous character. It's a quite popular character, and so I think this video, many of you will find this video interesting and enjoyable. So let me know in the comments, of course, as always. And so let's begin. So you can see the Joker in my virtual background. So this is the Joker. He's holding up a card of like the Joker card from this is a card from a set of playing cards, whatever. So basically, the Joker is a character appearing in the DC universe, the DC comics. I don't know much about this. I've not even read any DC comics. I have gone through a bit of Alan Moore's The Killing Joke, but that's about it. I've only just watched this movie, The Dark Knight. I mean, this Joker, which you can see in my background, that is Dark Knight's Joker. This is Heath Ledger, the actor. But anyway, that's not the point. We're not, reviewing the movie The Dark Knight, because that's a great movie. But anyway, that's not like we're just trying to analyze this character called the Joker, the character. Okay. So yeah, and I also read the plot and watched a few clips from the movie The Joker. The movie is named Joker. It's the 2019 movie called The Joker. But I don't know much about it. Like mainly I've watched The Dark Knight. Okay, so anyway, so this Joker is a character. First of all, as you can see from the picture, and I mean this is nothing new. I mean most of you already aware of Joker. He's such a popular character. So he's basically a criminal. Of course, he's a criminal, and he's a kind of psychopath and an insane mad person. Like as you can see, he just wears war paint. He just paints his face white, and he just paints his lips red. Like there's a sort of blood smile kind of thing, and he just looks kind of creepy and all. And of course, he's a criminal. He goes around murdering people, blowing up hospitals, and he walks around with a knife and all these things. And so yeah, he's of course definitely he's at first sight is an evil and creepy character. He definitely is evil. He definitely is a criminal. And so yeah, but what sets him apart from other criminals, most other criminals, is that number one is that he doesn't do these crimes for money. Like he has a greater vision. Okay, and he okay, before we come to that point, First of all, I'd like to make one thing very clear. Like many people say that, like those of you who know me, and like who have been in contact with me for the last few months, they say that like I've been influenced by the Joker. Like this is kind of like, yeah, it happens. Like you are so much influenced by this character, and for a short period of time, you just you just sort of idolize that character, and then you just forget about him. Yeah, that might be true to some extent, but I just want to make it clear that I was not just, the Joker was not just some random, I my philosophy of life, like this, this nihilism and some kind of existentialism, a certain disregard for rule, for this established order, and all this thing. Like, of course, I never want to become a criminal, and I've never committed any like a serious crime, obviously. But yeah, my philosophy matches with that of Joker, and that is why I like this character. It's not like this character, I found this character interesting, and I just this character sort of possessed me. It's not nothing like that. I was not influenced by this character. Rather, I found this character has a similar philosophy as my own philosophy, and of course, I found this philosophy many years before. At that point of time, I haven't even heard of the Joker. So yeah, and of course, definitely the fact that the Joker is such a colorful and interesting character, that also played a part. Maybe definitely, I won't deny that, of course. So yeah, and so basically, what is the philosophy of the Joker? That's the main thing, right? What's the philosophy of the Joker? So first of all, the Joker is what I was saying is that the Joker is not a random criminal who would, like, sort of smugglers and these drug dealers, or like he just doesn't do these kind of crimes just for money. He has a deeper vision. He has a greater vision. So he believes in nihilism. Okay, and I'll drop a video on nihilism soon, because recently I read a book called Nihilism. Anyway, let's not talk about that right now in this video. But yeah, the term nihilism is a very, like, it's prone to be misunderstood. Like when I say nihilism, like even I in a few instances in the past, even I have misunderstood the term. So nihilism definitely deserves a video of its own. So when I say the Joker is nihilistic, I like, first you have to understand what nihilism is. So yeah, for now, for our purposes in this video, what I mean is that the Joker believes that, like, there is no inherent purpose or meaning in life, and our this our morals, like for instance these rules. We all have, like, there are some rules in society, some laws, some order. So he believes that these rules, this order, this moral, they're all just meaningless. They're just meaningless. Why meaningless? Because this is not actually, this is a form of political nihilism, or you can say a moral nihilism, kind of, or anarchism. Like, of course, the Joker favors, he's a huge supporter of anarchy means, just like monarchy means, there is a single ruler, and he's the monarch, and he just rules the government. He just heads the government and rules the country or region, whatever. And similarly, anarchy means there is no, like, there is like no order, no rule. It's the people's government. People's government, like, not exactly democracy, obviously, but it's a kind of disordered, a kind of chaotic state. So anyway, what the Joker says that, so if you have watched The Dark Knight, during the interrogation scene when Batman was interrogating Joker, the Joker says that their morals, their codes, it's a bad joke, which is dropped at the first sign of trouble. So it's meaningless because it's not something objective. It's not something, permanent. Like, if our morals or our codes, our rules or our law, whatever, if it would have been really meaningful, really objective, that means it would be permanent. It would not be transient. Like, whatever be the situation, under every situation, the rules should not have changed. But that's not the case. Uh, like suppose those who make the rules, the ruling party or whatever, like those who make the rules, they always do it in such a way that such that they, like, the rules favor themselves. Obviously, not directly, not visibly, because in that case, the public will protest that. But they consciously or subconsciously, or like slightly, they always make the rules in such a way that the rules favor themselves, those who made the rules. So it's not fair. The system is not at all fair. And obviously, like, you can't say it's not at all. It's really not fair, with like this poverty, corruption, and all these things. It's as far from fair as possible. Like I'm talking about the entire world, and this is especially a big issue in some third world countries. In India, my country, India, also to some extent, and there are a lot of other countries. Like I don't want to discuss that here. That's quite beside the point. So this is what Joker means when he says that our morals, codes, rules, laws, these are all meaningless, and there is. So although there is some, and next thing the Joker says is that this emotion, he doesn't directly say it, but this is his philosophy, that this emotion and empathy, these kind of things, they're all subjective and they're all meaningless. Like I'm sort of combining the movies The Dark Knight and Joker as well. Okay, but anyway, I'm just trying to analyze the character Joker. So yeah, so in the movie The Joker, in the actor, it was not Heath Ledger, of course, it was like Joaquin Phoenix. Okay, anyway. So he says that we decide what's right and what's wrong in the same way we decide what's funny and what's not. So this is somewhat like saying like everything is kind of a joke, which sort of justifies the name the Joker. Like obviously, if you think about it, like everything is transient. We will die after a few years, and for the years we live, it's mostly full of misery, full of injustice, corruption, and we just try to find something to live for. We just try to find small things to be happy about because, and yeah, we just look forward to these things, and this is how we spend our lives. But ultimately, it's all like a joke. Like it's nothing. There is no divine meaning. There is no. Let me not use the word divine. There is no objective meaning. There is no inherent meaning. It's all like meaningless, kind of a joke, right? So, although it seems like it's morally wrong and morally right, but ultimately, when the way we decide what's right and what's wrong, it's in the same way we decide what's funny and what's not. So, it's like it's just doesn't matter. Like it's like this is I'm making a radical claim, and many of you will probably think that I'm a lunatic or insane or something. But yeah, and maybe you'll be justified in doing that. But it's true. Like it's technically, it's scientifically, it's logically true that it really doesn't like there's nothing morally wrong or morally right. It's true. Now obviously we'll say that that means being a responsible citizen is equivalent to murdering someone. Yeah, in some sense, yes. In some sense, yes. Because after all, of course, murdering someone seems to be morally wrong. And of course, it is wrong. I'm not saying that just because of this. I'm not saying that go out and murder someone today because I'm not saying that because that will ruin your life, ruin your career. You just can't do this. So there are social forces to keep us in place. But if you think about it fundamentally, if you think about it theoretically, logically, then there actually is nothing like there is the concept of wrong and right is itself like it's a subjective concept. It's nothing. I'm not saying murdering is right because nothing is right and nothing is wrong. It's just meaningless. And that's the basic idea of nihilism. Okay, so in this sense, the Joker was, of course, a nihilist. Of course, a nihilist. And then he just the next important thing is that there is like this was specially illustrated in the movie The Joker, 2019 movie. Uh, uh, these criminals and these kind of people, they are not born, they are made by society. Now there is a research, of course, like there's a common like knowledge that genetics plays a part. Like if my parents had these kind of traits, then I'm more likely to have it. Yeah, that's true. But what might also what should also be taken into consideration is that, like yeah, definitely genetics has a part. But suppose my father and mother, suppose they were, just an example, suppose they were a bit uh, like, just roughly speaking, evil. Okay, so this evil trait is will be present in me also. Suppose it is present, but there in most cases there must be some external factors to turn on this trait, to trigger this trait. Like all the offsprings of evil parents don't turn out to be evil. Few do. Why? Because there should be some external factors. So similarly, initially this Joker was just a normal human being who was a bit socially awkward, and he was suffering from some neurological condition and whatever. But initially, he was not this violent, this evil, and this kind of like insane and like criminal. It is society who made him this way. Society abandoned him and you know uh, tortured him, bullied him, and so he just uh, at one point he couldn't take it and it was enough for him and he just broke and he became insane. So and then he became the Joker, and after that point he wasn't afraid of anything anymore. And that is that is when a man is desperate, and there is nothing more dangerous than a desperate man who is not afraid of anything. Because if he's not afraid of anything, you can't blackmail him with anything. You can blackmail him with money, you can blackmail him with death or whatever, and he has nothing to lose. Like, he has no loved ones, he has no parents, so how will you blackmail him? And he doesn't care about his own life, he doesn't even care about money, so how will you blackmail him? Like, just like Alfred says, like, uh, some men aren't looking for anything logical like money. They can't be bought, bullied, reasoned, or negotiated with. They just want to watch the world burn. So when I say the Joker was not a common criminal who's just looking for money, like what he was trying to do is that he was trying to prove that inherently, like, he was a cynical person, and he was trying to prove that his cynicism and his views about the human nature, that inherently all humans are, basically uncivilized in the sense all humans are basically more or less, they're selfish and all they care about is their own good. He was just trying to prove this point, and to prove this point he was, like, spreading chaos throughout the city, throughout Gotham City. And he was spreading chaos for one more reason, which I'll be discussing shortly. And yeah, that's what he was doing. He was spreading chaos and he was, blowing up hospitals and stuff. He was killing people and spreading confusion, spreading fear and panic. But all he was trying to do was prove his point. And of course, he was a bit insane. But the point to notice that he was not just mad, not just insane, because a completely mad and insane person cannot just carry out such organized crimes. Like, he fooled the authorities, he upset the established order, and he just turned the entire city to chaos. So to do that, to fool the authorities and to even fool someone like Batman, who was an extremely powerful person with a lot of technologies, and then he fooled the police department, the mobs, and the entire city basically. So for that, to carry out such level of organized crime, you need to have a very orderly and very calculative, very clever mind. And of course, the Joker was in that sense clever, but I mean, he was insane in the sense that he didn't have the empathy and the emotions that a normal human had. He was like, he had a twisted view of life. In that sense, he was insane. But that doesn't mean that he was just mad. He couldn't logically plan on everything. Because in that case, he couldn't have achieved all this feat. So the first thing is, I've said a lot of things anyway, but now the next thing I'd like to say is that, yeah, well, so the point the Joker was trying to prove was that everyone is more or less mad. Like, everyone is like, people say that the Joker is a mad, insane, and we're all sane people. We're all good people, and the Joker is a bad people. Like this kind of. The Joker is trying to prove that there is a very fine line. There is a very fine difference between insanity and sanity. Like, for instance, there's a quote, not in the movie The Dark Knight, but there's a quote in The Killing Joke, anyway. But it's a very famous quote. The Joker says that all it takes is one bad day to reduce the sanest man alive to lunacy. That's how far the world is from where I am. Just one bad day. And then he talks with, like, it was like in a conversation with Batman. And so, yeah, I'm not going deep into that. But anyway, he says that, like, suppose I'm a sane person, I'm a normal person, but suppose in just one bad day means suppose in one day I face a lot of losses. Like, for instance, all of my loved ones die. It's very unlikely, but let's assume all of my loved ones die and I get diagnosed with a terminal illness, and something really terrible happens in my life, and all, if everything happens at once, then that's enough to drive anyone crazy, drive even the most sane person crazy. So I'm not really that far away from the Joker in that case. I am sane, but my sanity is just built on sand. It's just a little push, a slight wind. If a slight wind blows, then my castle built on sand, it will just crumble, and I will turn as insane as the Joker. So that's what he's saying. Like, there was the famous dialogue near the end of The Dark Knight that madness is like gravity. All it takes is a little push. So I think there are two, like, when he says madness is like gravity, he basically says that, like, we're all in kind of in unstable equilibrium. Like, a stable equilibrium means you have a sort of, let's say a upward parabola, and a ball is suppose in the middle of the parabola at the vertex of the parabola, then that's a stable equilibrium, because it will stay there. Even if you push it on to the left or the right, it will ultimately it will settle down there, because that's the lowest point, lowest potential. But unstable equilibrium means, suppose now you realize, now you imagine a downward parabola. Okay, so like a hill, a curved hill sort of. So suppose now the ball is resting on the parabola, on the top of the hill, at the vertex of the parabola. So now if you slightly push it to the left or to the right, it will start rolling down, and it will never return to that original position, because that was an unstable equilibrium. That was not the minimum potential point. So a little push and the ball just starts rolling. And so similarly, a little push in your life, one bad day, and you just start descending into chaos, descending into madness. So that's what he says. Madness is like gravity. All it takes is a little push, one bad day. And then he says that in another instance, the Joker says that madness is the emergency exit. What does he mean by that? Is that, like, sometimes it's like too much for us. Like, sometimes it's we're too stressed out, we're too depressed, and we're too, like, we feel like our life is pointless, we are too much hopeless. And in that case, madness is the emergency exit. What does he mean by this? Because once you become mad, like mad from this sense, madness doesn't mean like he's not asking you to, become mad, like you cannot plan intelligently, but because that kind of mad means you're just like as good as dead. Like you cannot even plan, uh, like you're just mad. So if you're such mad, then you cannot, carry out your plans and live your life. But in this case, I think this is just my interpretation of the Joker. Obviously, you might have a different interpretation. So I think what Joker is saying is that you become mad in the sense that you just start embracing the chaos, start embracing the madness. Like, so yeah, of course, I have landed myself in this mess. By this mess, I call this life, because life is a mess sometimes. And yeah, life is a mess sometimes for everyone, for more or less everyone of us. So, and this was not in my hands. I was born. So this was not in my hands. I didn't choose to be born. So I have landed myself in the mess, and I cannot get out of the mess. Of course, there is one way, suicide, but that's not a sensible way. And that's not like doable by everyone. So I cannot get myself out of this mess. But what I can do is start enjoy living in this mess. And this is what the Joker means by madness. So if we start enjoy living in this mess, then that is like an emergency exit. We just exit from this depression. We are still in this mess, but we exit from this depression. Like, I'm living in a mess, and this is freaking me out. I'm feeling sad, I'm feeling depressed, I'm feeling crazy, like I'm feeling disturbed. Like, from this you can exit like quickly. And in this sense, madness is like the emergency exit. And anyway, like, sometimes it feels like, like this is an emergency, and we all need an exit at times. So this is what is like meant by, you probably have heard these terms, like embracing the chaos, embracing the madness. This is what is meant by that, anyway, I think. And yeah, and so what the Joker says is that, like, basically it's not like, you know it's all subjective. You cannot objectively say that this person is sane and this person is insane. It's not like that. Like a slight push and this sane person will become insane. And once he's insane, then he will think that I am sane and the rest of the world is insane, and the rest of the world will think that we are sane and he's insane. Like, there's this famous saying, like, in an asylum, the person behind the bars thinks he's sane, and the person on the other side of the bar is insane, and the visitors think that the person behind the bars is insane and they are sane. So it's all subjective, basically. And that's a really important point, considering, like, in the context of nihilism, and also in the context of the Joker's philosophy. And like, mm, I mean, there was one more thing. The Joker says that, like, in that quote, in some quote, I don't remember which, the Joker couldn't even remember, like, why he became that way. Like, he couldn't remember his past. Now, it could be that he's faking it, but it could be like he has become so insane that he really can't remember his past. So he says that if I am going to have a past, I'd prefer it to be multiple choice. And even in Dark Knight, you see, in one scene, the Joker says that he got these scars on his face due to like his father, who was a drinker and who like did it with a knife and that. And in a different scene, he says that his wife, uh, some people carved the face of his wife, and but he just himself did the scars on his face to sort of to let his wife know that he didn't mind the scars. So basically, he's just well, I think this idea of having a multiple trust past, of course, that's not possible, but I think this idea of having a multiple trust past, I think this emphasizes the fact that we cannot be sure of anything other than the present. Like, of course, we are uncertain of the future, that everyone knows, and even the past we cannot be sure of. Like, we're sure of in the sense, of course, we have. I mean, if you think about it scientifically, neurologically, then false memories can be implanted. Like, implanted in the sense artificially implanted, or sometimes they're formed by itself. Like, I don't know if you have had the experience, but some people surely have had, like, myself included. I've even talked with some people who, some other people who have had this kind of experiences. They have a sort of formed a false memory. Like, they can clearly remember that this happened, but actually that didn't happen in their life. Like, they ask their parents, like, did this happen? And everyone, then nobody said no, nothing of this sort happened, but they have a clear memory. So false, it's all basically comes down to the neural circuitry of your brain. So false memories can be formed, and the past, your memory is not a reliable source of information about the past. And then if you think in terms of physics, then these paradoxes in time travel, like the grandfather paradox, these paradoxes can be addressed if you think that the past is multiple choice. Multiple choice in the sense, like, there are different timelines. If even if you assume that traveling to the past is possible, then by traveling to the past you simply enter a different timeline. So I think this idea of having a multiple choice past, this draws a bit on a lot of scientific ideas. Just I wanted to mention, like, the Joker is actually a very logical character, and in some sense, the nihilism he follows is scientific nihilism. Like, it's not just illogical and metaphysical. And yeah, so that's pretty much everything I wanted to discuss, except one last point, and this last point is arguably the most important point of the Joker. So yeah, like. What best describes the Joker? So, if I ask you to describe the Joker in one word, what would you say? Like, some people would say insane, some people would say like mastermind, criminal, some people would say an agent of chaos. All of these are good to some extent, especially agent of chaos and mastermind, criminal. These two are very good descriptions, especially agent of chaos. And yeah, before that last important point, let me just talk a bit about the agent of chaos part. So one more philosophy of the Joker was that he himself say that I'm an agent of chaos, and he says that chaos is fair. What exactly does he mean by this? Chaos is fair, and what is chaos? To be honest, here this is also another scientific perspective, like scientific point. This shows that the Joker is actually a scientific-minded person. Like, I don't know whether he had a formal education in science or whatever, but he surely is a scientific-minded person, a logical person, surely. So, what is chaos to start with? So we're trying to understand, like, why did the Joker say chaos is fair? So for that, what do you mean by chaos here? Like, if you think of it from the perspective of physics, order means, like, roughly speaking, okay? Order means there is some order, and order means there is some sort of regularity, and regularity means that can be penned down in equations, that can be penned down as laws, that can be penned down as rules or laws. I mean, there is some sort of predictability. There's some order means there is some sort of predictability, and disorder means it's unpredictable, it's disorder, it's chaotic. And we just discussed that whenever there is rules, like, from a social point of view, if you say, like, whenever there are rules, the rules always are made in such a way such that the rules favor the maker of the rules. So it is not fair, it's unfair, it's not, like, it's not justice. So from the social context, you can understand why order is not fair and why chaos is fair, because chaos means basically everything is disordered. Like, everything is, like, of course it's fair. Like, chaos hits the same to everyone. It's not like chaos hits a rich man harder than it hits a poor man, because chaos doesn't care about rich and poor. The rules, for instance, the laws, although they are supposed to be the same for everyone, but in practice it's not. Like, there's a lot of injustice. The rich people and the privileged people, they often get away with crimes while the poor people don't. So all that, but chaos is just an it's unbiased in the sense that chaos means disorder, and it's related to chance, like just pure chance. So it's the same for all. It doesn't care about whether you were rich or poor, whether you were like your gender or your money or your power or your position or status in society or your caste or your like whether your skin color, your race, your ethnicity. It doesn't care about all these things. So in that sense, it's fair. And if you think in terms of physics, well, order means in some sense the most orderly state is just nothingness. So again, that is also fair in some sense because there is nothing, so there's no place for unfairness. But if you think about some system which is mostly orderly, which is then that means that system has some rules and stuff. So if there is some order, that means you can distinguish suppose this direction from that direction because there's some order, right? So it's like it's not entirely isotropic, like for instance, east west and north south. So of course, there is an order here. The order is the fact that the Earth revolves around the sun, and due to this order, it appears that the sun, like due to this order, it appears to us that the sun always rises in this direction and sets in that direction. And then for our convenience, for navigation and whatever, we have defined this to be east, this to be west, and north, south, and so on. So it's although space is isotropic, obviously, but in this sense, we can by looking at the sun, we can somewhat like differentiate all the directions. We can differentiate south from east, for instance. We can differentiate east from west, for instance. So it's not like just a rough idea because this is mainly this fair, unfair justice. This is mainly applicable to humans and society. But still, I'm just giving you the counterpart, the analogy in physics. So it's not fair in the sense like it's not the same for every direction. But if now consider disorder, chaos, like total randomness, total chaos, like that means it's the same everywhere because chaos means it's totally chaotic. There is no way to discern or distinguish this direction from that direction. So in that sense, chaos is fair, and this is one of the things the Joker says, right? This is what it means when he says that he's an agent of chaos. But the most important point, which I'm trying to say, is that the Joker, the best way to describe the Joker, in my opinion, would be he's basically an experimenter, a social or a psychological experimenter. Like he kinds of uh, he views the world as his laboratory, and he views all the people in the world, or if you consider his jurisdiction to be just Gotham City, then he views the Gotham City as his laboratory, and he views the people of the city to be his subjects, the subjects of his experiment, and he's just running experiments, social and psychological experiments. Why is he doing this? He's just trying to verify whether his views about human nature, whether they're true or not. And although these experiments are, cruel and immoral, but he doesn't care about that, of course, because he has transcended all these human traits of emotions and cruelty and immorality and all these things, because he has transcended all this, and he has embraced the nihilistic viewpoint. Like ultimately, these are all meaningless. And of course, he has the intelligence to avoid and to keep himself safe from law. So he's doing this, and his philosophy is like, yeah, I'm doing this. If you can catch me, catch me. But if you can't catch me, then I'll do it. Stop me if you can. I don't want to hear what's wrong or right and all these things. I'll do it. Stop me if you can. This kind of philosophy. So why do I say that he's like a psychological experimenter or a social experimenter? Because you see, like in the suppose take the Dark Knight, for example. Like he says to Batman during the interrogation scene that I wanted to see what you would do, and you didn't disappoint. So he was doing all this, murders and stuff, and he just said he just in the camera he asked the Batman to turn himself in, or else he will be killing people. So he was just kind of seeing how Batman would react to his madness, to his unpredictability, and to his cruel plans and his actions. That was basically that was what he was trying to see. Like he was just trying to run an experiment on Batman, and he was just trying to see what Batman would do. He was trying to see whether like Batman was a symbol of Batman was supposedly incorruptible, and he was a symbol of hope, the symbol of the fight. He was the alone fighter for justice, and so he just wanted to see whether this truly such a person could exist, or even such a person could be broken, such a person could be made insane, thus verifying his philosophy, Joker's philosophy. So then he did that part. He just announced that if Coleman Bridge isn't dead in 60 minutes, then I blow up a hospital. by doing this, what he did was that he just proved that that everyone is only as good as the world allows them to be. Like these civilized people, the common people, they're supposed to be civilized and they're supposed to be good. But when their lives are threatened or the lives of their loved ones are threatened, then even they become uncivilized. Then like even these common people, they become like they try to kill coal miners, they try to shoot, because yeah, of course they in under normal conditions they would consider the act of murdering up someone illegal, immoral, whatever. But when the Joker said that I blow up a hospital if you don't kill him in 60 minutes, and he doesn't specify which hospital, it could be any hospital in the city. So then they think that okay, so all our relatives are, suppose my relatives are in that hospital, my relatives are in that hospital, so they cannot risk the lives of the relatives. And if blowing up a hospital means a lot of people is going to die, so then they say that okay, it's better that let's kill one people, and it's better that one people die instead of a lot of people die. So basically that's how it should be, that's logical. But under normal circumstances people will disagree, no, like nobody should die, this is immoral. But when they're pushed to the limits, when the chips are down, then these civilized people, they eat each other. That was like they just lose their civilized like sense of lose their civilization, like civilness and whatever we call it, and they just become insane. They just become like animals. They just came because ultimately everyone just cares for their own survival and their own good. Like even if I cared for the survival of my loved ones, I only do that because that would give me comfort. Ultimately, what I care about is my happiness, right? So that is what Joker was trying to prove. So he did this kind of experiment, and just to bring out the worst in the common people. So again, this proves that he was a kind of an experimenter. And in the last scene, if you see, what he did was that he just there were two ferries basically, and in one ferry all the common people were being sailed away from the Gotham City, and in the other ferry there were the victims, like criminals, like the convicted person, the prisoners, whatever. So what he did, he put two explosives in the two ferries, and he gave the that detonated to the bomb on the other ferry to this ferries. Like suppose he gave the switch that would switch to activate the bomb and blow up the other ferry to the people of this ferry, and he gave the switch to activate the bomb and blow up this ferry to the people of the other ferry. And then he said that you have this like you have until up till 12, and then from then you have to decide, like either one of you will have to blow up the other, and if you don't do that within 12, then both of you, I'll blow both of you up. And otherwise, either you will blow up the other ferry, in which case you get to live, or if they blow you up, so they get to live. So basically, this is a very great social experiment, because this like they're all the people, they are operating under a time constraint. Like they have to decide first, because the people on the other boat, they might decide to blow them up any moment. So they have to decide first. Then there are then the moral aspects, like the people are thinking that should we blow them up, it's not morally correct, but then they're thinking we have to survive. Like there are a lot of emotions are being revealed in the people, and this is kind of course, this kind of a social experiment. So I think the best like the Joker, the best thing that can describe the Joker is a social experimenter or a psychological experimenter. And he just does this crime just to bring about he has a knack for destruction, but he has been tortured in his life, so he just doesn't care about morals and all these things. He has a knack to challenge the rules, challenge the convention, and upset the established order and spread chaos. And he just want to bring out the worst in people, and like and do this kind of immoral social and psychological experiments. And yeah, he's from that sense, he's mad and insane. But of course he is extremely intelligent, and there's that word, like method in madness. Of course there was some method in his madness, otherwise he couldn't be able to carry out all these feats. Like it takes brains to do this, obviously. So this was like my analysis of the Joker character. And I'd really like love to hear your comments on this. And yeah, so with that, I end this video. So yeah, of course, the Joker is a negative character in the sense, like if someone is thinking of replicating his actions, of course that's not right. But I think there is a lot to learn from this character, and we can actually implement some of these learnings in our own lives. Like we can try to be as impartial and unbiased as possible, and we can try to be less emotional, because that is actually helpful in some cases. That will like we shouldn't be extremely emotional, like, and we should be try to be as logical as possible. But yeah, we shouldn't let that reach to that point, like we just kill people for the fun of it. Not that, of course, but actually there is a lot to learn from this character, and this is a very deep character. Definitely, it tells a lot about human nature and psychology and philosophy. So that's all for this video, guys. Thank you.